It's too bad, but we have to respect Furina's decision. Maybe the thought of performing brings up too many painful Huh? What's going on? Are they arguing?
That's besides the point. I'll ask you again. Why did you start looking for a replacement without my consent?
You didn't need to say it. We've known each other for how long now?
And that gives you the right to make it.
Shortly after you left, the troupe's lead actress came to the Adventurers Guild. She believes that she's healthy enough to perform. Excuse me, but can you both take a moment to discuss something else?
Sorry, I was just dealing with a little misunderstanding.
Sadly, it's a no from her. We tried to persuade her, but she wasn't having it. She doesn't want to play the role for personal reasons.
I see. Well, circumstances have changed a little. You see, our leading lady has just informed me that she's well enough to make it to the show after all. Staging the musical with the full original cast was always the dream, of course.
Oh, right! Sounds like everything worked itself out then. Yeah, she'd be livid. We'd get the scolding of a lifetime.
Jeez, is Lady Furina really so harsh with people?
Only joking, calm down. So, yeah, despite the fact that we failed to complete the commission, we were still racking our brains for
Look, there's no point arguing with you about this anymore. You've made yourself very clear. This is the last chance we have, though. If your illness flares up again, there won't be time to find any— So, are you absolutely sure you'll be able to handle it?
Yes, I'm completely confident. I've been taking a new medication from the doctor, and it's working brilliantly. I share everyone's desire to commemorate all our years as a troupe with a proper farewell show. Every one of us thinks of this troupe as their home.
You're right. I'm sorry. I let myself get too worked.
All's well that ends well. Sounds like the show will go on. Sure.
Hey, how did you... I was just passing by because I realized I forgot a couple of items. All right, I'm coming. No need to drag me. Hello, one and all. I couldn't help but overhear your
Furina? Didn't you say you were gonna take a rest at home? What are you—
I was just ever so slightly concerned about the situation you mentioned. When you came to talk with me earlier, I jumped right to explaining my position, and all before I even had a full grasp of the situation. Anyway, I just feel a bit bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's totally fine.
You really have a knack for asking them. I felt very sheepish, having had a change of heart after flatly refusing you. And then, to make matters worse, But in any case, it sounds like the issue has already been resolved.
Yeah. When they said they were gonna ask for your help, I almost had a heart attack. I mean, how could we be worthy of having Lady Furina star in our—
There's no need to think like that. I was wondering, if this troupe is so important to all of you, why does it have to disband? If the difficulties are purely financial, then there must be a solution. Everyone seems so—
We all want to believe that. Everything's been going downhill ever since we lost our director.
Her name was O'Reilly, and she was the founder as well as the artistic director of our troupe.
What?
That's actually how I recognized these two. It was all thanks to their efforts that the true culprit was brought to justice. But still...
She was a loyal fan of your performances, Miss Furina. They were what first inspired her to get into— She rallied many people around her who were destitute or had lost their sense of purpose in life, and convinced them to join her troupe. She wrote her own scripts, acted on stage. People loved our performances back then. We seemed to be going from strength to strength.
And then disaster struck.
Yeah. After that, none of us know anything about script writing, let alone how to handle the business side of things. It's agonizing. But ultimately, we'd rather end things now on our—
Oh.
What a terrible waste. a gifted artist from humble beginning. I suppose it's fair to say then that this final show, besides being your farewell to the stage—
Yes, exactly. We all miss her terribly.
Well, good thing I followed the traveler here. After hearing this tragic tale, I know what you're thinking, but I by no means plan to cross the boundary I've set for myself. Besides, they're no longer looking for a replacement, and I can, however, provide some artistic guidance from the vantage point of a but only if you feel this is something that—
Oh, most definitely. We'll take any guidance that you can give.
We unfortunately don't have any budget for a consultant, though. Will that be a problem?
I don't need any compensation. All I'd ask in return, if you're willing, is that you tell me some more about the life and work of your late director. Something I've begun to realize since my departure from the Opera Epiclese is that there's a lot you don't see when you observe The law only judges criminal behavior and does not weigh human emotion. What about all the unresolved emotions of the parties? An interesting answer. But if you ask me, I think all emotion shall ultimately return home to the heart and slowly settle with the Take, par exemple, how this troupe pines for their late director. Things such as this I have never witnessed before.
Still a fan of your old dramatic monologues then, huh? You just want to get back in on the action.
No. This is a completely different situation. Pearls before swine.
The name's not Swine, it's Paimon!
Would you be willing to join me?
Thank you all so much. Our director was a huge fan of Miss Furina's performances. As, of course. All right, follow me. We'll go to our usual practice space. Lady Furina?
What's Lady Furina doing here?
Hello all. Allow me to explain. As of today, Miss Furina will be supporting our production of The Little Oceanid. These two over here are the ones that made it possible. They kindly reached out to Miss Furina on our behalf.
You bet! That was the trial of the century!
You helped bring our director's murderer to justice.
Oh, please don't mention it. We're just here to join in on the...
So, you were saying, The Little Oceanid?
Yeah, that's the name of our final show. It's an unfinished script left behind by our director. One of our greatest regrets is that she never got to complete it. So, if we can bring it to the stage and make it a successful show...
Wait, but if it's not finished...
Yeah, we've been battling issues on every front trying to realize this dream. The protagonist of the story is a young Oceanid who transforms herself into... She longed to live just like any other human. And sure enough, she found friendship. But one day, her true identity was exposed.
So far...
That's one of the issues we've been trying to deal with. Unfortunately, this was as far as the director got with her script. We need a proper ending so we can bring this musical to the stage. But people have different opinions on which direction.
We still haven't decided between a happy ending or a true-to-life tragedy.
By true to life, you mean the director's sudden disappearance?
Yeah, like they say, true. But then there's the question of whether we really want to use the stage to pass our raw pain.
Exactly. A lot of the time, people come to watch a show just hoping for some light entertainment. We have to consider their emotions. And one last thing. We're still waiting on confirmation from two of our main actors. The first is Paulo, who plays the protagonist's lover. He's locked himself away to focus on writing an ending for the script. But the deadline's passed. The other is Villemont, who plays the main antagonist. He took the director's death pretty hard. He did write to us, promising that he'll be there for the final performance, but we haven't seen or heard from him since.
Although, now that we have Miss Furina helping us...
What opportunity?
Maybe you're unaware, but your name has always been like a rallying...
Our director was constantly singing your praises. All of us look up to you as a role.
Oh, stop. You're making me all flustered. I suspect the reason they're dragging their feet is that they have their doubts about whether the show will really go ahead. But one by one, all the obstacles are being removed.
That makes sense. Okay, priority number 1, let's check in with Paulo, and he went back to Poisson a few days ago. Said that staying in a friend's home might help him to relax.
I thought the last thing his friend would want right now would be to take visitors, given that Poisson was flooded not too long ago.
Yeah, maybe he could use some company.
Poisson. Nothing. I suppose my presence... So, allons-y. To Poisson!
If I remember correctly, this is where he's staying.
Who is it?
It's me. Is the
You came all the way here for...
alright. Forget that for now. Just come on out.
Nice try. Look, just give me some time, okay? I'm just wrapping up this last...
Okay then.
So, as expected, he's missed the deadline.
The ending is one of the most important parts of the... Even once he's done, it isn't final until we've all had the chance...
Someone told me they'd just seen you in Poisson. I assumed it was a case of mistaken identity, but sure enough, here you are.
I was wondering if we might run into her.
So, you're here for Paolo? Looks like he could be a while, so feel free to take a stroll around town in the meantime.
Oh, it's okay. We can just wait here.
Thank you for being so considerate, Miss Navia. That sounds wonderful. Get over here, you! How oblivious are you?
How are things in Poisson now? Any better?
Things are on the mend, but it's a slow process. Some people may never recover from the trauma they experience.
I'm sorry to hear.
Please, must our conversations take such a depressing turn every time we all have painful memories? But we don't have to let them cloud and if you're trying to make a new start, perhaps it's best if you don't...
Thank you for your words of but for now, at least, I think I should stay with the way I'm feeling.
It's okay. These things take time. Moving on from it, which brings me to why I'm here. I thought you should probably know that not everyone here is ready to forgive and forget. After the Hydro Archon's inaction in the face of to avoid upsetting the peace, I told the townspeople that everyone here is a member of the theater troupe. It's not a perfect solution, but hopefully it means you won't have to lie low while you're here.
That's so thoughtful of you.
Well, what do you expect? I am the courageous and considerate president. Anyway, that was all. Look after her now.
Off we go then. Let's take a look up there. I don't have any friends that I can be frank and honest with, so maybe she's right. I'm so grateful that Miss Navia was so understanding. To be perfectly honest, I didn't know if I was ready to meet. It's always easiest to just run away from your problems.
So that's why you were nervous when they brought up Poisson.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared of... Still, I felt it was something I had to do. As I was saying before, I want to see for myself. I'd be overjoyed if the people here could find it in their hearts to forgive me. But they're more likely to unleash a tirade. Yeah, I can tell people are watching me. I'm sure some people here see the idea of someone coming to Poisson dressed as the Hydra Archon as extremely disrespectful. I used to be terrified of the gaze of other people, especially when they had suspicion. I guess I wasn't quite ready for this after all.
I'm not surprised you're making yourself go through all.
I can't let myself see only the things I want to see.
Look! There seems to be a crowd gathering over there.
Probably time we made a move. How about we check out Spina di Rosula's ship? We should have a view of the whole of Poisson from... I'm sorry. You probably just wanted a relaxing...
We don't mind. It's actually refreshing to see a different side of you.
Great. Well, I appreciate your company, so please don't disappear just yet. I don't know whether you can tell, but the years of suffering and loneliness aren't the only reason I have a hard time facing up. As I stand here by the ship, I can't get the images of the rising water, one after another. People were taken by the water. They thought their god would protect them. They had absolute faith that when disaster struck, a divine power would save them from harm. And all the while, I played my part to perfection but then the floodwaters finally came.
You shouldn't look at it like that. You're only doing your duty.
I've had to go through so many moments like that for the sake of protecting the truth. As time went on, it got harder. Eventually, I realized I had nothing left except the truth. I became terrified of completely failing in my task. Fortunately, we were able to avoid the worst-case scenario. Everyone rose to their responsibilities, but on some level, freedom also means...
I would have never imagined...
A reward? I guess so. And back then, I didn't even dare to dream. I was scared of someone recognizing me for who I truly was. Believe in the Furina you see on stage. I had to keep all my feelings, all my curiosity about life to myself. That's what I really meant when I said I'm no good at maintaining relationships.
So that's where you were coming from.
Could you please get off my case? I don't know what's gotten into you today. I'm making an effort here. You could at least try to do the same. I do. I once had nothing but the truth, and now I'm finally free to live my own life again. At least the choice is in my hands. All right, it's about time to head back.
Sure. Okay, let's head back and check it out.
Didn't you say you needed to watch what you eat? You're supposed to be cutting down on—
Come on. It's not every day we get to dine at Spina di Rosula's expense. Anyway, my character doesn't need to be slim and good-looking.
Are you kidding me right now? It's not your character's health I'm worried about. I've spent my whole life battling the effects of ill health, and it kills me to watch you willingly ruin yours by—
Oh no, looks like they're arguing. We're back! Could you maybe put your differences aside for a...
You're back. We've been enjoying Spina di Rosula's VIP treatment in your stead. Paulo's nearly done. We shouldn't have to wait too much longer.
Great! So you were discussing your characters, right? We heard she's playing the Oceanid who turns into a human—
Me? I'm an Oceanid too.
He was originally supposed to take the form of a crane, but he outgrew that role.
Sorry! sorry.
The boar's not a bad character, actually. He's the one who raises the little Oceanid.
That's right. He has some pretty memorable lines, too. Like when he imparts some solemn words of wisdom to the If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one.
Wait, that sounds kind of familiar.
It's the most important line in the whole script. I think it's a symbolic statement about our director's life, and she kept quiet about all the trials and tribulations she faced in running our troupe, allowing us to devote ourselves fully. It was only after she was gone that we realized how tough—
You mentioned earlier that the troupe is like your home.
Yeah. I was born with an incurable illness. I spent some years taking whatever work I could find and trying to manage my illness with various medicines. It was like that until the director found me one day. She told me I had a great voice and asked if I was interested in studying singing. She took me under her wing, taught me to both sing and act, helped me find Mora for my meds, took care of me when my condition decided to flare up.
She sounds like a really incredible person.
She really was. She gave everything she had to her troupe. I was a lost child too when she found me. As the child of a murderer, my parents weren't around when the other kids were always picking fights with me. They'd say things like, "Come on, you must be pretty tough if you're the son of a murderer." One day, I got beaten up so bad that I just couldn't take it anymore. So I ran away. I lost all faith in humanity by—
Let me guess. Fortunately, the next person you ran into was the director.
Yeah. For the first time in my life, I was somewhere I felt safe.
The day you hoped would never come. How time—
Oh, you're finally done? Get your butt over here. There's someone I need to introduce you to. This is our new artistic consultant.
Furina? The Furina? Oh my god!
Please, the honor is all mine.
Same here.
Even so, this is just— Oh, wow. Yes, the script, of course. Let me give you a rundown of how the story I'm sure you're already familiar with the beginning of the story. A little Oceanid decides she wants to become a human. She finds love and friendship in the bustling city. But then, disaster strikes. The people start to notice that all the fresh water in the surrounding area is slowly disappearing. The soil is becoming arid. Plants and flowers are withering. And the people begin to panic. The little Oceanid, Cleo, and her lover decide to do something about it and investigate the truth of the matter together. In the end, they discover that all the waste and pollution created by humans over the years has caused the freshwater
Consciousness?
Water as a conscious entity.
Since the little Oceanid is a water spirit, she immediately understands how the water is feeling. She then tells her lover about her true identity. Her lover accepts her for who she is and works with her to find a way to bring the water back. The little Oceanid is accused of being directly responsible for driving the water away.
And then?
In the end, she makes the brave decision to sacrifice herself to save—
Huh? But didn't they all treat Cleo like a villain?
Well, she mainly wanted to save her lover.
Through her love for her human partner, she was able to find an even greater love.
There's actually something else that— You know the protagonist is supposed to represent the director, right? If we're serious about dedicating this show to her memory, what about if the little Oceanid is hounded to death by people who hate her? Her lover makes sure her secret never gets out.
That sounds like too cruel of an ending to me.
That ending would be a perfect mirror to Director Aurelie. On the day when she went missing, Director Aurelie had instructed us all, somewhat. We waited and waited at the rendezvous point, but she never came. By the time we looked for her, the Gardamex looked for her, but she was nowhere to be found. Increasingly, all the signs seemed to point to her being the latest victim in the series.
The director was the kindest soul in the world, yet she was senselessly sacrificed for the sake of a—
But doesn't the way she suddenly told you to leave the city suggest that maybe she had some sense of what was about to happen?
I've been trying to follow up on that ever since, but all my efforts so far have turned up nothing.
Villemont? The one who's playing the role of the villain?
Yeah. He's been overwhelmed by grief.
Grief? Guilt, more like. Also, I have a hard time because... Well, speaking of the play being true to life,
What? You kept that one quiet.
It's time to be upfront with you all. No more keeping secrets from each other. We'll never be able to agree on the ending if we can't be honest about how we feel. I did tell her how I felt once. She said that we were all like brothers and sisters to her, and she'd never considered us as potential romance. Not that it came as a shock or anything. It was what I was expecting to hear. I said, maybe one day in the future, when everyone's settled into their own lives and all, well, maybe then she could... And now... So if I'm the one writing this ending, then I'm gonna make sure it does right by O'Reilly.
In that case, you have to straighten things out with Vilmont once and for all. We've all had our differences of opinion over the ending, but those two have never seen eye to eye on...
Well, if that's where we're at, looks...
Are you ready to face the truth?
Honestly, I'm slightly terrified. But for the sake of our final performance, funny you should ask though, you really do get what I'm going through right now.
I certainly do. Come on, everyone.
This is tough going. Delphi, are you sure you can manage in your condition?
I could ask you the same question. Try to keep up.
As if this journey wasn't tough enough already without...
Don't worry. We should all be fine with the traveler here. We don't need to take a detour. Wait, why are you all looking at me?
We're just curious, that's all. I don't think anyone's ever seen Furina.
Yeah, but don't you remember why? The Hydro Archon willingly gave up all her power so it could be converted into indemnitium.
Precisely! And I'm not even the Hydro Archon anymore, so as much as it pains me, unfortunately, I should just stay put. I'm more like a damsel in distress more.
That sounded so smug. Ugh, secondhand embarrassment is unbearable.
C'est la vie, indeed. Alas, I am forced to watch on helplessly as a more brave and seasoned adventurer than I swoops into...
Aw, too bad. I was so pumped to feast...
Sorry to leave all the heavy...
Don't worry, piece of cake. Taste.
There is no escape!
Grow!
Ha! Illusion shattered! Torn to oblivion!
Committed to memory. Sharing my knowledge. I see everything.
Quietly now. Take it easy.
Silence!
There is no escape! Inazuma shines eternal!
Bravo! Good show! You certainly live up to your reputation.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, the path is cleared now, so onwards and upwards.
Vilmont, are you there?
Huh? Oh, it's you guys. Wait, what's Lady
I can explain. We've been rounding up the whole troop. We now have everyone except you.
So, you think knowing the truth about the director's disappearance will... I care just as much as everyone else about making the little Oceanid a success. If I open this can of worms now, I just don't want to make things difficult between us.
Viaumont, avoiding the... Unless you mean to suggest that Aurelie's death had...
I don't want to talk about...
Listen, Viaumont. I used to think that my love for Aurelie was a point of shame. I never brought it up to anyone. But now, I've made up my mind to put it all on the table. I'm prepared to face it. The little Oceanid cannot be complete unless we do justice to Aurelie on...
This is why people think of you as not... As you all know already, the troupe was kept afloat not from ticket sales, but donations from the audience. We took on side jobs when we weren't performing, but even then, the troupe's financial situation... So, anyway, one day after a show, a merchant came to me and offered us a huge sponsorship. It seemed like a win-win, so I said yes to it. The drink in question was...
Isn't that the drink peddled by the culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
I freaked out when I saw the boxes. And I told the director everything right away. But she didn't reprimand me for making the decision without consulting her. Instead, the merchant was furious, berated us for going back on our word, and threatened to sue us for damages. I was going to sort it on my own, but the director stopped me. She said that this was an issue for the whole troupe, and but things only got worse from there. The synth merchant just wouldn't let up, and then suddenly the director told us all to leave the city one day. I admit this whole thing was my mistake. I didn't dare to tell any of you the truth back then, and after the director disappeared, yeah, I got Aurelie killed. There.
Hey, don't say that.
You traitor! You knew Aurelie was in danger. What do you mean? You were afraid. This was a life and death situation. How could you be so stupid?
Please, try not to get too worked up.
Yeah, listen to him!
Stay calm? How can I stay calm? And he has the gall to try and high-road us, claiming that he kept his mouth shut for the sake of the show.
All I can say is I'm sorry. Truly. I'm just a coward who made an awful, terrible mistake that I can never take back. Beat me up if you want. End my life. So I can meet the director and apologize to her in person.
Get out of my sight. Go, get...
That's enough! You've screamed and shouted at each other for long enough. Can you stop conflating the show on stage with your real life? You keep saying that you want to use this final performance to pay tribute to your director and celebrate her life. How can you do that if you're just using it as an excuse to vent your own emotions?
You're right.
I'm sorry.
On stage, the lead role is the focal point of the audience's attention. But in her own life, her greatest desire wasn't to be the center of attention. What she wanted was to build a warm home for all of her brothers and sisters. I understand why you're trying to make her the hero of the story, but...
Yeah.
So think hard about what that means. And then think again about what you hope to... If you really hate each other and can't reconcile your differences, then you could just call it quits now. Why bother with the final performance if the group is already... But you can't bring yourself to do that, can you? You care too much about Director Aurelie. What are you laughing at?
Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that, for a moment there, if she'd seen Paulo and Viaumont at each other's throats like that, she would have scolded them exactly like you did, and that...
Really? But she sounded like such a...
Of course she was. Even her harshest lectures came from a place of kindness, and it showed.
I'm truly sorry. I really meant for this to be a genuine apology.
It's all right. Let's save all this for
Clearly, everyone needs to take a step back for now and reflect on what really matters. When emotions are running, the end of the story needs to focus back on Aurelie herself.
What do you mean?
The Traveler is right. You once investigated that underwater synth base and recovered items belonging to the... If you could find anything that Aurelie left behind, perhaps we can get a better sense of what she went through in her fight.
You really think that's possible?
I trust that nobody would object to the ending of the story being big.
No.
Well, we'll leave this in...
Come, let's pay a visit to the Palais Mermonia. The rest of you, head back to the rehearsal location for...
You want to review some recovered items connected to victims of the serial disappearance. Still, since you were the ones who discovered and submitted the evidence in the first place, you don't actually have to submit now.
So, this is all O'Reilly left behind.
Hey! It's full of script lines! And sketches too!
Let me take a look. Maybe there's something in here from after she was kidnapped. Aha! I found something. Looks like she kept a detailed record of her captor's actions. If we'd had the chance to examine this notebook carefully back then, it would have been a conclusive piece of evidence proving
Lachey took so many lives. It's still so unthinkable how many victims he had.
I guess O'Reilly must have written all of this down in the hope that her records would one day... wait, it cuts... Her handwriting here gets patchier and more illegible by the line. Her final words are... I'll let you read them for yourselves.
She was so terrified.
She may have been a mighty hero in the eyes of her troop, but at the end of the day, she was... I can't bear to think how painful and lonely her wait. This part on the last page sounds strangely familiar. If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one.
Isn't that the most important line in the Little Oceanid?
Because I am an older sister.
Oh!
So she didn't regret her decision. Even as she sat in silence, I'm sure this is what the troupe would have hoped to hear as well. She had their utmost trust, admiration, and love. Let's go. It's time for them to learn to
She deserves a hero's farewell. If that's the only way to convey to the...
Even in the last moments of her life, she was still leaving a trail.
She did her best to protect as many people as possible, even if it meant we know what choice our little Oceanid would have made now. Well, Vilmont, if we put the past aside for now...
I will channel all my regret and put it into my performance. I won't ask for your forgiveness, and you don't need to worry about my feelings.
Then it seems like we've reached a consensus.
Really? How can you be so sure when you've never even seen them perform?
Don't underestimate my experience. After watching a countless number of musicals, I've learned one important thing. If you want to move the audience with your music, you must fully commit and immerse yourself. And aren't human emotions love, hate, I don't believe anybody could be more committed to bringing this story to life on the stage than...
Thank you for the vote of confidence.
Then, let's not delay things any longer. We need to discuss the details of...
Actually, before that, I'd like to make up during the curtain call. Please allow me to use...
Huh? But then...
After all, this role was originally meant to be played... Besides, a role commemorating her life should be associated with her name.
Well... If you're sure you're...
All right. I'll leave you to fine-tune your musical while I go and procure a stage.
Procure a stage?
Oh, it's okay. Our usual place doesn't need a reservation.
That place? Oh, don't be silly. For an extraordinary show, we need an extraordinary stage. By which I, of course, mean the Opera Epiclese.
Whoa, wait.
No. That's never going to work.
What are you afraid of? Surely you don't think that Aurelie's story is unworthy of the grandest stage in Fontaine?
No, that's not what I meant.
It is supposed to be your grand finale, right?
I have no problem with it then. I'll take your silence as a yes. Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Well, then don't disappoint me. If you mess this up, it'll reflect poorly on me too. Come on. We'll need to get the go-ahead from Neuvillette. Look at that! Looks like I guessed right.
You were just...
I knew you'd be here.
I'm here merely for a short break. It has been a while, Miss Furina. And you too, traveler in Paimon.
I would like to book the Opera Epiclese.
I understand. The process for booking the Opera Epiclese is complex and can be somewhat cumbersome. The story of the little Oceanid is most fascinating. I'm looking forward to seeing it performed on stage. I will say, however, that I am surprised to see your passion for the performing arts rekindled after all that has happened.
Huh? What do you mean?
Yes. And this is the first time that I've seen you like this since your departure from deityhood.
At first, I just felt bad about rejecting them. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about in the past. We sat in our high chairs in the court, giving our opinions on isolated cases. Maybe it's because I finally become an ordinary person and gained my freedom.
I am truly delighted to see you now that you've regained some confidence. Have you had any thoughts regarding...
Why would you...
Well, if the Little Oceanid turns out to be a great success, it will no doubt become a classic. Many theater companies are certain to add it to their repertoire. The experiences and decisions of the protagonist, Cleo, are all modeled after your own. It would truly be a shame if you did not take this opportunity to allow audiences to enjoy your outstanding acting.
Haven't I already made myself clear? I won't act nor do I think it is any great shame. There is no lack of fine actors. This experience is a case in point. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I must admit, though, I'm a little envious.
I see. Well, I'm glad to learn that you have found a role to play that you enjoy. I sincerely hope the show will serve as the grandest of finales. I will have my staff book the date and mail the relevant paperwork to the troupe once the details are confirmed.
Thanks, Neuvillette.
You are very welcome.
Everyone. Thanks to my eloquent and impassioned speech, Monsieur Neuvillette was moved to provide us with a fitting stay. We've had to fight every step of the way for this opportunity. A touching story, a magnificent venue, and now, let's work together.
This is truly...
The sooner we can finalize the ending, the more time we'll have to rehearse. Fiamma and I just went over some parts of the script and tweaked a few things. I think it's really going to resonate with the audience.
Wow! You two had a constructive conversation?
Communication is vital to any good performance.
Look at us. We've come so far.
It's amazing. Even though Furina's still being a bit of a drama queen about it all.
Please feel free to give us any comments or suggestions you...
Hey, Loic, get over here. Time...
Cursed Cleo. She stole the waters of life from us. She's a fraud, and she must pay for her crimes.
This has nothing to do with her. The ignorance and hatred of our people is to blame. How—
This guy could be useful. Take him hostage. If Cleo wants him back, she'll have to show—
Leave this place, oh little Oceanid, and never, ever look—
Everyone's really throwing themselves into their roles. I haven't seen such a fine performance. If only...
What should we do? It's almost time for her to take this...
Why? Why does it have to be...
Hey, what's going on? You're due on stage any... Oh no, not again. But why? What about your new meds?
They've been getting less and less effective over time.
What? I thought they'd cure it.
I figured whatever it took to get me through this final performance.
How could you do this to yourself? And after that lecture you gave me about not looking after...
I'm sorry. I've let
You... This is a conversation for...
Miss Furina? I'd like to make a request of you.
Say no more. If you're sick, you need to rest. I know what you're going to... Loic, your character...
Yeah. I think my scenes are all done. Although, I do have one more line.
Please take Delphi back to her place to rest. I'll sing... From the sublime to the ridiculous.
Thank you, Miss Furina. I'm so sorry to put you in this...
Never mind. What's done is done. It's really my own fault for getting it. No one likes regrets. Myself included. Leave it to me. I've watched you rehearse so many times that I've learned Cleo's part.
I do not doubt your acting skills, but Please allow me to ask just one more question. After all, this show is dedicated to the life. What, in your opinion, is the reason?
It's her pure heart, despite all the pain and loneliness she had to endure.
Well said. I leave Director O'Reilly in...
Is she here yet?
Let's get here!
She's not coming!
You're wrong. She's here.
Si je pouvais vivre dans l'eau, le monde serait-il plus beau? Me pardonneras-tu, ô chère mère? L'eau dans son courant fait danser nos vies, et la cité elle nourrit, ainsi que toi, mon doux amour.
But what about your wish?
My wish.
If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Le grand amour ne suffit pas, seul un adieu fleurira. C'est notre histoire de vie, douce et amère. Moi, je serai toujours là, à voir le monde et sa beauté, et ça ne changera jamais, jamais.
Is it just me? Or was that Lady Furina on the stage just now?
She hasn't been seen for a while now.
Gotta say, though, her acting skills are as superb as...
The little Oceanid, Cleo, played by Aurélie Fumont.
Wait, that's not her name. What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a doppelganger.
I've spent a lot of time out of the spotlight, and they didn't use my name during the curtain call either. Hopefully, not too many people. It's too bad that I had to break the one clear rule I'd managed to make for myself. Still, it felt good to be...
Finally, we would like to give a special thanks to our artistic consultant and event coordinator, Miss Furina.
Hey! That's not what we agreed on!
Oh! So it was Furina. She's back!
Honestly, what is he doing? He should have run that by me first.
All right, calm down. Don't be mad. This was a group decision. We just didn't want your contributions to go up. After all, it's been the rule in Fontaine since ancient times that everyone's work...
Yes, I know the rule, but won't be applied on a
It's no big deal.
Oh, yeah? Well, since you think it's so easy, you can sign them for me.
This is a great chat and all, but can we talk about that crazy thing that happened during the show? It nearly gave Paimon a heart attack. Paimon flew over to where she was supposed to be and was about to drop the prop vision, and then suddenly, a real one popped out of thin air!
Oh, I've got no idea what happened there either. I'll bet the audience has never seen such a realistic prop.
Wait, what about Dolphy?
Let's go check on her as soon.
Yes. Plus, she'll definitely want to hear. If nothing else, we can safely say that we accomplished.
You're back. She's doing okay. Her condition stabilized after taking some of her original medication.
How did the performance go?
You'll be glad to know it was fantastic! Also, you're not gonna believe what happened while Furina was on the stage. You'll probably be able to read all about it in the Steam...
That's wonderful. I'm so sorry I failed to see it through to the end. I guess I was wrong to try and...
No, don't worry about it. Like they told me after announcing my name during the curtain call, even though you couldn't see it through to the final scene, the audience was very impressed by your performance.
Well, one way or another, I've had bad luck ever since I was born, so I never expect things to go smoothly in life.
Blaming your bad luck again, are we? Maybe if you didn't push yourself past your...
Oh, don't you start.
Aw, you two clearly care a lot about each other.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You mean we never stop arguing with
So, any plans for the next step? After the brilliant performance you put on, the reputation of your troupe is sure to spread. You could capitalize on the rave reviews and license out the little Oceanid to the big...
No, we should still disband.
Yeah, it's what we all...
After all that's happened, I should give you guys some space. But maybe...
Hey, don't just walk off!
I still want to keep performing, so I might join another troupe. After watching Miss Furina's performance, I think I'm starting to understand our director's infatuation with...
You should do it. It suits you.
Oh, so now you finally got your priorities in order. What about you, Miss Furina? Any future
Well, frankly, I think a return to obscurity is no longer an option for me. You rather sealed my fate there with your special thanks at the end of the show.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. No need to apologize. What I meant to say is that this whole experience has shown me that maybe Neuvillette was right. Maybe Cleo is the right role for me. I still don't wish to pretend to be someone else, but I do have a desire to express myself. Yeah. There was once a time when I was an actress in a masquerade, but from now on, I want to spend my time learning real stories about real people. I want to watch them blossom and wither, see them refined on the page, retold on the stage. I'm sure this is what captivated director O'Reilly as well.
Sounds like you're ready to stop running from your true calling. The more you get out into the world, the more you'll discover what a fascinating...
If a vision is a gift from the gods, then I should do my best to honor it. It's ironic to think that in my whole time as a god, I could only... And now that the gods have given me their blessing, it actually feels more like I'm... Is that how...
I'm just finishing packing up. As soon as I'm done, I've got an interview with the Steambird, thanks to all your help, but most of all...
Now that the buzz is worn off, I feel ready.